All right, welcome back. You're going to get an interesting background noise today. Been waiting. My granddaughter is here visiting, and she likes her TV loud. So, and her granny is watching with her. While she works on art projects, she likes to have TV on, so it goes. So I hope you enjoy. So I'm on to stage 6 of the Tour de France Femmes. We're in the final kilometers, last 10 kilometers, and it's Lynette making her move. Sorry, I forgot her first name. You know, these things stick in my head for a minute and then they pop back out. So she's using this climb, and this last little climb on the lap, they're back out doing a second lap through this little area outside of the finishing town. The finishing town of Rosheim, so they're right on the German border. It's things are getting infinitely more German in the town names, but so just behind her, Hannah Henderson, who was in this previous painting on the descent, and apparently is a former downhill skier who came to cycling later in her sporting career, but found cycling, just took to cycling and immediately started winning races. But she's, experience of being a downhill racer means she has a little less fear of descents. And you've got to love that swiping through turns and such if you're a downhill skier. I love descending. I'm not a great climber, so I always look at the descent of a climb as my great reward, and I take full advantage of it. It is great fun. I can't quite do what these ladies are getting to do because, unlike them, I don't get to race on closed roads. So they know there's no oncoming traffic. And with that knowledge, they can use the whole road. And when you can use the whole road, you can go even faster. You can sweep through all the sterns. So these three have really opened the gap. Jocelyn is the rider in the back that is losing the wheels of the other two. Actually, everybody's losing Lynette's wheel. So behind them, what I'm working on now, they, on the climb, will let the riders know just how much further it is to the top. So this is the 1 kilometer marker, telling them they've got 1 more kilometer to climb. Sometimes that's probably depressing as opposed to helpful, depending on how you're feeling, right? Don't know what this little sign is, but we're going to add it. So again, by the forcing the perspective, getting her much larger, and you've got that implied perspective that's exaggerated by the fact that each rider is considerably larger than the one further back. So that's part of the drawing perspective. I don't think I'll do a lot of the color perspective on this, but again, your tools are diminishing lines, so scale, and then also it's the theme song is playing now, and it's quite loud. So we'll work through the colors. So I hope you're enjoying the background music while you watch this. I'm not. So now we'll move on to the next color in the my color wheel of approach. You all are familiar with the color wheel, right? So the color wheel shows the relationships of color. The warms, the cools are all opposite sides. Some people refer to it as Roy G. Biv. Roy G. Biv comes from red, orange, yellow, and going on around into the cools. G being green, B being, or the Biv part is blue or indigo. And then, oops, forgot some yellow. And forgot a spotted orange, but we'll just use that. Whoops, oh well. Decided that was a cyclist, but it's actually a motorcyclist. So, it's okay. That's again, I'm using the lighter, warmer colors first, and the motorcyclist is all blue, so it won't be a problem to cover it up. Again, with watercolors, you either accept your mistakes, because there's very little going back and correcting them. So you kind of learn, one, step A obviously is don't make mistakes. There's it. Mistakes happen, and in art making, if you don't make a mistake, you're not really trying. So now what the announcer Hannah Walker, Spanner Walker on Twitter, is calling the Masterpiece jersey, which I think is a great. So it was explained, these guys explained it. The men broadcasting the men's race never explained where this jersey came from. And the explanation made me like it a lot more. I know I've shared this prior, but they've done an algorithm of all of the colors of all of the Dutch masters. This is a Dutch team, and use that algorithm to get the colors, sort of a ratio of the colors from all the Dutch masters paintings. And then something just dawned on me. I don't know how many years I used that cough medicine called Dutch Masters. Now I have to go find a package of it and look at it and see if the two bearded men on the Dutch Masters packaging are in fact Vermeer and Rembrandt. I think there's a few others worked into that equation as well, but those being the two big names. So see how I was able just to cover over that problem. All right, so now we're going to darken this blue. darker blue for the shorts of the FDJ kit, FDJ Suez Futuroscope, to use their whole name. And now a little bit more blue to that for the upper part of the jersey. So, because they have some different sponsors, I think it is that the women's FDJ team, like the men are Groupama FDJ, they use a slightly different not slightly, they use a pretty radically different kit than the men use. I really like the men's FDJ, Groupama FDJ, to be accurate. There, that gets that darker, more navy color more obvious. The sunglasses. So, I forgot so I want to get my brush real clean because I'm going to go back to the yellow. And see, again, that's why I do it in sequence, so that if I back up, it's less difficult to get the brush clean. Okay. So before I'm going to do the blacks, first, I missed Jocelyn's face there. Okay. I'm going to do the greens. Start with the bright green of the grass. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the TV. I find TV very distracting. Not one of those people that can ignore it easily. So it's been a real challenge. Like at night, I will frequently be writing these blog posts at theartofcycling.blogpost.com, writing about the race. And we'll have the TV on, and I have caught myself actually writing what the TV was saying instead of what I meant to write. So I apologize for the distraction. I also apologize mildly for the distraction for y'all. I don't know how much you can hear it, but it's pretty darn loud, even if it's in the other room. I do like the music, though. So now I'm just working through the trees, and they get progressively darker. So that's why I thought I'd start with the brightest green and work my way up. I had to sort of plan to wait until my lovely granddaughter left to do this sound taping. But we're getting to the end of the race, and her mama hasn't come to pick her up yet, which I'm fine with, but so
yes, sun was coming up. Cleo and Kitten.
So now just working through the trees. So you can see I've left this area because I'm going to come back and highlight. So I'm going to take that same green, add some of this yellowy green to it, come back in here and pull that highlight into it and see how that all becomes one. And now that darker green becomes the shadow between the two trees.
It was a lot, wasn't it?
So
She loves you. Or did she think there'd be food up
So they're discussing one of the dogs in the house, licking her face in the middle of the night.
You're what?
So now we're going to move to, the next set of trees behind that, and now the other part of perspective is, whoops, I got too much green there, but I'm trying to do, I'm going to mute this color a little bit. So again, back to the color wheel, I use some of the color from the opposite side of the color wheel, and that so that's the way you get the darker, less obscure, and that's the atmospheric chroma perspective. So that helps drop these trees behind. I think they need to be a little darker, so I'm going to add a little more red, purple to be exact. And then come back in here and get just a little bit of this down into these trees, just to pop them a little more, and also help pop the riders. So not only do you have chromatic contrast and the drawing contrast, but you also have value contrast as well. And now we're going to blue, because it's the other thing, as things drop away in perspective, they become more blue as the water vapor mixes into it. Oops, missed something. The top of this placard has a little notch, so the top of it looks a little bit like a mountain, which I think is a nice touch. Now I'll come back over here, that's dried a little bit, and add just a little bit of the leaf details. And apparently somebody's coming. This is going to be one of the more interesting videos I've shot for background noise. Okay, thank you. I'm going with either the mailman or the doctor, or the dog is walking up the street. Fun, isn't it? Downside of painting in the front room. Oh, one dog's decided it's okay. All right, so just about here, just about done. Gonna lay some shadow into the roadway. Oops. And then, so enough time to say again, I did mention the blog spot earlier, but you have the opportunity to see all of my cycling work at theartofcycling.blogspot.com. And of course, you can see even more artwork at gregleach.com. I'll put those into the description so you can go find them more easily. And I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. Please give me a thumbs up, or if you really feel it's necessary, you're welcome to give me a thumbs up. Hey guys, stop. Sorry. And I forgot the title of the piece. All right. So, sorry for the background noise. Now my granddaughter, there we go, is going to join in. Thank you all.